Good morning, everyone. The committee will come to order. We're scheduled to meet twice this morning. Right now, as we begin our business meeting to report 5 nominations, 2 for the Department of Interior, 2 for the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, and 1 for the Department of Energy. And then immediately after we conclude this hearing, we're going to move on to our full committee hearing on vegetation management on federal lands. But before we begin, and recognizing that we're still waiting for a quorum to come together here, I'd like to take a moment to note the loss that we had last week by recognizing the life and the service of Senator Pete Domenici. Many of us served with Senator Domenici. He was the longest serving senator from New Mexico. I hadn't realized that. That's quite significant. But, you know, he was, in my mind, a real statesman. He was my chairman when I first came to the committee, and I was just very honored to not only call him my chairman, but to call him my friend. He was a great, great, great guy. As our chairman and then the ranking member, he shepherded 2 major energy bills into law in, I think, a very strong bipartisan tradition for which our committee has been known. He was also a tremendous champion for the national labs, always spoke very highly about them. He was the one that really advanced that whole idea of the nuclear renaissance and got people excited about the role that this country could play when it came to nuclear energy. But he was also weighed in so many significant areas when it came to our nation's energy policy. I think we can think about so many of the issues that we're working on here today, and I think it's fair to say that Pete started so many of them. Senator Cantwell just reminded me that in Indian Affairs, you had a series of tributes to Senator Domenici as well. I missed that, but again, another area where he was a leader, and of course then on the Finance Committee. Was it Finance or Budget? Budget. Maybe he was Budget. But again, you wanted to know where the numbers were, and you wanted to understand so much of our budget policy, and Senator Domenici was influential in so many of those other areas. I think we recognize that his passing is a considerable loss for his family, for his friends, for many of his former staff. I know that there are many on the committee that worked with Senator Domenici throughout his tenure, but his loss is certainly a loss for New Mexico, but I think it is fair to say it's a loss for our country as well. And our thoughts and our prayers go out to his wife, Nancy. She was just the real rock there, but to all of his children and his grandchildren. I'll be brief in the rest of my comments this morning so that we can conclude our business meeting and move on to our hearing as quickly as possible. Our Interior Department nominees are Joe Bailash to be the Assistant Secretary for Land and Minerals Management and Ryan Nelson to be Solicitor. Our FERC nominees are Richard Glick and Kevin McIntyre, who will be designated as FERC's chairman upon his confirmation. And then finally, our Energy Department nominee is David Jonas to be General Counsel. All of these nominees have made it through their hearings and answered the questions submitted for the record by our members. I do appreciate their willingness to serve. They will all have my vote this morning. I want to again thank Rich Glick for his service to our committee over the years. I'd also like to recognize and thank Joe Bailash for his service to Alaska and to this chamber as Senator Sullivan's Chief of Staff. We're moving expeditiously on these nominees so that Secretary Zinke and Secretary Perry can have their teams in place, and so that FERC does not just have to have a minimum quorum, but instead a full complement of 5 commissioners. So once we achieve a quorum, which I think we're there, I will ask members hold their comments so that we can conduct up to 5 voice or roll call votes. And once those votes are complete, members will be able to make any comments that they have related to the business meeting, and then we'll move to the full committee hearing. So Senator Cantwell.
Thank you.